She's Katy Montgomery. He's Justin Joseph. These best friends are serving subpoenas to bad advice weekly with Wrong Way Forward. Now, here's Katy and Justin.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode 16 of Wrong Way Forward. I'm Justin Joseph here along with Katy Montgomery. We are so excited to be ringing in the holiday season with you all. Last week we talked about engagements because that's big in the holiday season. And this week we're going to talk about gifting because, of course, Katy, gifting is a huge part of the season.
It is, and it's my love language, Justin. So I really, really love gifting. So we're going to talk about gifts you can give yourself. We're going to talk about the concept of regifting. And then we're probably in our last block, we're going to be talking about a gift that's really maybe kind of mean. So we'll be addressing all of those during this episode.
You know what I think we should also do in the future is you need to have a Katy's gift list, a holiday favorite things. That would be a great episode because are you one of these people who go out throughout the year and this is how I am. I will see something and think that'll be a great Christmas gift in 7 months. And I'll think about it throughout the season.
I do, but I'm actually a smart shopper. I take after my mother. So I hit sales throughout the year and see things and purchase them. And I have a really big plastic Rubbermaid tub in my basement that I put those gifts in. And then I sit down kind of after Thanksgiving and take inventory, make sure everyone's taken care of and do all the wrapping. For those people, some people might be impressed by me, some people might hate me, but I have completed all of my shopping and everything is wrapped and under the tree.
Is it? You are also traveling.
I am traveling.
So you had to get this done before.
Exactly. But I love it. I love buying gifts. I love seeing people open gifts. I love trying to pick up little tidbits about what people find interesting. And I love Christmas time. I think it's a lot of fun. So it's particularly fun now that we're getting to podcast and engage with listeners during the holiday season.
Right.
So,
is there any best gift you can give us I'll tell one gifting story, and then maybe you can give us your best gift idea this year without giving it away. I don't know. This episode airs when, in a couple before Christmas?
Yes, before Christmas.
So, Josh Banker, God love my husband, is not a great gift giver, and meaning that he's just not someone who puts a lot of thought beforehand into it, and so he will go out on one day and he just buys in one day. And so one of our biggest fights one year was that he came with presents wrapped under the tree. Mm-hmm. And I opened one, and it was those little lamps you put on tables that light the table. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I love those. I think those are brilliant.
This was like 5 minutes after they were out. We went to this fancy new restaurant, and I commented how much I loved them. And so those ended up on our tree. And, of course, when I looked at the price tag, they were like $600, so I lost my mind. And I was like, that's way too much to spend on table lamps. So the table lamps went back, and anyway, it's a running joke in our family now because I'm like, you can just get me table lamps again because now you can buy them for $12. But anyway, that's my best holiday gift story. But I do try and think throughout the year of things. He'll make comments, and I'll think about things. And we do one gift for me. I can buy myself one thing. One gift for you. I can buy you something, and then one gift for us.
Oh, I think that's really cute. And I do love this I was actually just with my hairdresser. And anyone watching this on video, my hair really looked fantastic. Justin even commented, but now I'm wearing these big old headphones and it's just completely ruined. I mean, it's kind of like, what's the point?
It flattens it.
Talking to my hairdresser, and I do love this idea of having experiences, particularly when your kids get to be a certain age, is giving for Christmas an experience together and gifting that. I love the idea of that. I think that's, absolutely fantastic. And this isn't necessarily a Christmas gift, but I do have a good friend who's her parent, her mother, and all of their siblings, when their parents passed away, they put together a travel fund. It was aside from everything kind of as part of the estate. And they, manage the money in this travel fund, and the family can get together and go on a trip, all expenses paid. And it is a great way. So no one says, well, I can't afford it this year, or I'm out because, we're on a tight budget. And it really brings the family together. And it allows everyone to kind of participate. And I thought that was a wonderful gift and something very thoughtful and a way to kind of keep the family together through experiences kind of after their passing. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And I'm hoping once my parents' estate closed, that we were able to do something similar that can pass on to the next generation.
I love that. You guys have always been so thoughtful about that kind of stuff. So I love that. I want to hear what the best gift you ever got. But first, I'm going to tease. We're not going to bore everybody with Christmas gifts. We are going to be talking about what Dr. Ruth, yes, the famous former Dr. Ruth, who's passed, God bless her soul, what she said the best gift you can give. But before that, I'll speak about one of my most memorable gifts I ever got. I remember when I was young and I wanted a hamster more than I wanted anything. And my brother had killed a hamster. I don't know if he didn't feed it or whatever, but they were absolutely forbidden in our house after that. And we used to do CCD. Remember, Sundays you go to CCD, and we were supposed to write a letter to God of what we wanted for Christmas. And so I wrote this beautiful, of course, very eloquent letter about wanting a hamster. And my mother found that letter, and I woke up Christmas morning to a maze, and it ended up in her closet, and there was my hamster.
Oh,
and that hamster lived for 2.5 years until it got into the one new piece of furniture they ever bought, got into her couch and ate her couch. And it was not a good memory of the ending of the hamster. But anyway, that was my good gift story. What about you?
Justin, what was your hamster's name? I'm sure it was fantastic.
I actually had two. I took such good care of one because, as I said, I'm a huge animal lover. And so I took such good care of them. They both lived till the end of their life. One was Mickey because Tony Basil's, oh, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey, that one.
Hey,
so that
hey, Mickey.
It's a good song. That was my first LP too. And I think Like a Virgin. Anyway, so that one was named Mickey, and the second was named Buster.
Oh, Buster's cute for a hamster.
Yeah,
I like
Buster's
that.
cute. Yeah, they were both good pets. I remember them both fondly. All right, your favorite gift, and then we'll get into Dr. Ruth's advice.
So again, I'm sentimental. So I would think as my dad started a charm bracelet for me in 1990. It was 2 years before I met you, Justin, in college. And it just had a little disc on it, and it had my monogram, and on the back it said Christmas 1990. And then he proceeded to kind of give me charms, and when I've traveled, I've purchased charms, and friends have given me charms, and I even have a charm from when I, spent that 6 months in China, from the professors I was working with. And so it's again just a sentimental piece, and it's just so nice to kind of look down at it and remember my dad and how thoughtful he was, and kind of creating kind of an heirloom piece that I hope, that I can pass down for generation to generation.
It's somebody you mentioned. I remember your charm bracelet in college. You had it. It was gold, and you had probably 20-ish charms on it. So that's the one you're talking about?
It is. And I remember when I was dating someone, and he'd be like, every time you walk around the corner, I think it's a dog. Because
I could hear you coming down the hall.
It'd be like, jingle, 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 and I was like, get over it. Of course, he never gave me a single charm to put on it. So it was just a terrible match.
Neither did I. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to buy you a big microphone.
There we go.
All right, on to more interesting things. God, I don't know how we can contribute to this, but we're going to do our best to try. When we thought about the episode on gifting, I did a search on what are the great gifts you can give to yourself, and Dr. Ruth came up, and this was her quote, and so we're going to talk about this again. Also, just to remind you that we do have our text line. If you have thoughts on this as we go through it, or you have a favorite gift or memory, you can text us at 720-251-4450. Again, 720-251-4450. But Dr. Ruth's advice was this: have as much sex as you can in your lifetime, especially when you're still able to. Do it when you're young at age. In my age, I'm sorry, I'm not able to engage in it as much as I could when I was younger, but that's my best advice. Give yourself as much sex as possible. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. Your thoughts?
Well, let's just say I haven't been getting that gift lately. And the gift well is very dry.
Well, I not to gross me out, but did say if you're older, you have to use lubricant, which I just think as a woman.
Justin, that is so disgusting. Don't ever use that word again.
You hate the moist word?
Justin. Listen to this. I was at Costco the other day, and they had some kind of moist eye solution, and I was walking by and I went, the word moist is disgusting. And this old couple looked at me and went, right on, it is nasty.
And they're probably having a lot of sex.
Probably.
Yeah.
That means they're giving themselves the greatest gift.
The
It's gonna
greatest
be
gift.
a fabulous holiday season for that.
Do you
couple.
believe with the premise of it? The premise of it?
So, I first of all, I do think, and I'm probably gonna, be a nerd here and kind of, quote kind of the Harvard Grant study, which was the longest longitudinal study, and it did all kinds of things. Like it had people running on a treadmill. It took their blood. It interviewed their family members, and it was this group of men that had started at Harvard and kind of went through. And they said, what was the biggest predictor of happiness? And it's the quality of your relationships. And that's more than just a sexual, kind of love, or I guess not love relationship. But I think, yes, it's important. I think it is something that keeps couples together. I think it is good for your health. I think it is, good for your relationship. I have kind of a strange story, but I remember watching Oprah, and Oprah had somebody on and they said something like, we surveyed blah, 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 many people. And we said, would you rather have a great night of sex or a great night of sleep? And I was sitting next to my mom and she just blurted out, great night of sleep. Just about died. So I do know, as Justin, we're in our early 50s, and I don't really talk about this much with the opposite sex, except my gay guy friends. But I do know that most of my friends, it has slowed down. And I don't think that's maybe a lack of want. It's more of exhaustion and things are moving and you have children and you're juggling a lot of things. And so at the end of the day, you really do kind of crave the sleep. Mm-hmm. So I think, Dr. Ruth's, her profession was being a sex psychologist. And I think the way that she got attention and viewers was to shock. And I think saying something like that, and probably my guess is that was the 80s, it had some shock value. But I, if that is what people are wishing for on their holiday list, I hope Santa comes through for them.
That's true. And it's a gift you can give yourself and you never have to leave the house.
Just
So we'll talk about that and more on the other side. We'll be right back after this.
Great.
You've been listening to Wrong Way Forward, where bad advice goes to die and then gets resurrected just so we can roast it again.
If you're enjoying the chaos, hit like and subscribe and come back every Thursday for new episodes.
Have a new topic or some disastrously bad advice you want to dissect? Email wrongwayforwardpodcast@gmail.com. Include your contact info.
Now back to Wrong Way Forward.
Roasting the worst advice ever. Welcome back to the Katy and Justin podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Wrong Way Forward. This week, we're talking about gifting. Gifts you give yourself, gifts you give your other person, your friends, and then we'll also talk about regifting, and would love your thoughts on that. Of course, you're always welcome to join the show. Text us at 720-251-4450. You can also email us at wrongwayforwardpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, we don't get those texts and emails until sometime after the show airs, but we always look at them and then we'll talk about them on the other side. And we'll do a little bit about that in our later this break about last week's show. When we first left, we were talking about Dr. Ruth's advice that you should have as much sex as you can. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. And we were talking about how as people age, that just doesn't happen as much. And we were, one of the memories I have of my parents who, they're very big Catholics. Catholicism, sex is a huge part of a marriage. And so I remember my parents used to go to this thing called Marriage Encounter. Have you ever heard of it?
I have. I've heard of Marriage Encounter.
So they were big Marriage Encounter people. And I'll never forget when they went to the first Marriage Encounter weekend, the priest said, and I'll mess this story up, but my mother can weigh in. And this is not something that I have to edit out later. But she said, the priest said, the question he asked everyone in the room was, what's the last thing, if you learned you were dying the next day, what's the last thing you would do with your husband? And the priest said, that should be sex.
That pisses me off.
Let me just say why. He said, because sex between a married couple should be an act of God, basically. And so, that was what he thought. And anyway, you're obviously not in that camp. Tell me more.
Well, first of all, I just want to be like, fight the patriarchy was my first reaction to that. And I am also a Catholic, but I'm like, of course a celibate priest would say that, right? And it's almost like separation of church and state. I kind of be like, I really just don't want the church in my bedroom,
Same.
So those two reactions. And also I want to be like, couples have got to do what's right for couples. Yeah. And if it's the end of the world, you know, they might want to pray together. They might want to go out and get rip-roaring drunk. You know, they might want to go and fly on an airplane and go see their grandchildren. You know, just what a strange thing, and particularly from someone who is not married, who hasn't experienced a lifelong or a long-term intimate relationship, to give that advice. Fight the patriarchy. I don't care for that.
I love it. And then the other thing I would say is I do have friends who are in their 50s. I shouldn't say friends. I have a friend and her couplehood. They have a lot of sex.
Which is great.
And I mean, and I don't want to say they talk about it all the time, but I know they do. Well, she talks to me about it all the time. And, again, I don't think she listens to this podcast. She's a friend 3 or 4 removed. But, I think God, I'm going to get killed. I think one time she said she's exhausted, but she has to keep up with him.
Well, I mean, to each their own. We also have a mutual friend who's going through menopause who says if she watches a TV show and there's a makeout scene, her reaction is, ooh, gross, and she covers her eyes.
Oh, not me. I fast forwarded 10 seconds, and I am not in menopause. I just don't need to see that.
So it varies. Each person is unique and different.
So do we agree or disagree that it's a wrong way forward, that the advice is the best gift you can give yourself is a lot of sex?
I think it is for some people, and for other people, maybe not so much.
Yeah. I would just like tea lights instead, or table lights. Bring me table lights instead. All right, so we're moving on to the best gift you can give other people. On this topic, we're talking about regifting. What are your initial thoughts on regifting? Then we'll talk about some rules we found.
So I'm going to be honest, I have regifted.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with regifting. I have a problem with just first of all, cheap people drive me crazy. I don't have a problem with people who are smart about their money, who are good investing, who are deliberate and when, where, and how they spend their money. I think that's smart. Yeah, so we've joked that sometimes we see a bottle of wine that someone brought to my house that might make it to the next person's house because you're just grabbing, what's in your stash. And so, I think that's a version of regifting.
Sure.
In a way.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm done.
I was saying, I think you can also, like a truly good regift, you can say, I got this gift and I thought it was perfect for you. Or, you can almost own it. You don't see your face. Thank God we started recording again because there's the Katie Montgomery face.
Why say that?
Because it's authentic.
Yeah, but nobody knows the better. I'm going to say again why I'm a bad Catholic. Like it's a lie of omission, which my mom reminded me on a very frequent basis was a lie. But I don't think that's something that you need to share.
You're right. I don't know how it makes the other person feel better. I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. That's the wrong way forward. If we could just delete that out.
But Justin, do you regift?
I do, but I also am not that I would. I can't think of a specific opportunity where I have. I don't gift a lot, period. You took that entirely the wrong way.
You're just miserly. You're Scrooge. You're like bah humbug. You're the Grinch. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I don't have your large size family. I have some nieces and nephews on both sides. But we're big cash givers anymore. I'm like, that's what I wanted. That's what they want. And from people, I've gotten some really bad. My parents are great gift givers. So again, they're going to kill me here.
You're not going to get anything this Christmas.
And we always got one big thing. And the one year was Broncos tickets. That was amazing. And the next year under a huge box under the tree, I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And we opened it was a steamer.
Like a clothes steamer?
Yes. And I was like, it was probably a very expensive steamer, but it was a steamer. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you. And that went back.
That's like the year when my mom opened up a coffee maker and she was like, I work my ass off around here. I do everything. I'm the reason Christmas is even a holiday. She was bitching right and left. And then she opened up the kind of container to put the kind of coffee grounds in, and there was a diamond tennis bracelet. And my dad loved to surprise her that way. And I'm like, do you feel like you're a total asshole right now? And she goes, no, not at all, because everything I just said was actually true.
I love that story. Oh my God, dude, your mom's stories are the best ones. But anyway, I can't think of anything I've regifted. I have no problem with it. You know, when we first started talking about this episode, we talked about some rules of regifting, and these were the ones that came up. Original packaging, well, of course, should not be unique, homemade, or personalized. No S word. You need to be 100% the person you're giving it to and the person who got it from are not connected. Yeah, that's pretty obvious too. Yeah. And our favorite tip, you must genuinely believe the person receiving the regifted item would appreciate it. And I think that's what you were talking about.
So Block C, what we're going to talk about is a viral moment that some of y'all might have heard of coming off of Thanksgiving. And it's a family prank that really went wrong. And most of the internet is kind of saying this wasn't a kind of funny moment or a way to induct someone in the family. Instead, this was bullying. So
I feel like your family would have totally pulled this prank.
Justin... But my family's funny, and this is not a funny prank. But let me...
go ahead, sorry. I thought it was funny, but we'll go. Go ahead,
yeah.
Sorry.
But should we talk about this when we come back from the break?
Yeah, we'll be back.
Okay.
Thanks for streaming Wrong Way Forward, the weekly reminder that advice is usually free for a reason. We call out bad advice wherever it hides, boardrooms, break rooms, and even book clubs.
Enjoying this dumpster fire? Like, subscribe, and check back every Thursday for new episodes. Want us to roast your favorite piece of nonsense? Email us at wrongwayforwardpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to include your contact info. We're not psychic, just judgmental. And now, back to Wrong Way Forward.
Roasting the worst advice ever. Welcome back to the Katy and Justin.
And we're back. And we teased this a little bit, but what we're going to be talking about is this famous prank that made kind of a viral moment on the internet. And what happened is there was a family, and there is a new fiance. One of their sons got engaged. And so the way to induct her into the family is to really say, we are the kind of family that does the turkey trot. And we're going to do a 10K on Thanksgiving. And you better come and you better be prepared. And so this girl going into this family wants to impress, wants to participate, wants to be engaged, wants to be included as part of the gang. And so she trains. She buys the tennis shoes. She takes the time. She uses her energy, which time and energy are a commodity. Yeah. You know, there's not like, endless time and endless energy. And as they go, they're all in their turkey T-shirts. They've got her in a special outfit. They put the turkey hat on top of her head. And they go to take the kind of family photo before they go out for the race. And they go, surprise, we're not a turkey trot family at all. We never run. And her response was, are you serious? And I think the thing about this is that the internet is going crazy saying, this isn't a prank. This isn't like an induction. This is hazing. This is bullying. And this is really a mean way to kind of introduce her into the family. And I think what I think is really interesting is the family is dying laughing. They think it's about the funniest thing ever. And it really falls flat. Like if you're watching it, you don't laugh at all. It's actually actively not funny. But I'm wondering, Justin, like, what do you think about that? Do you think that that's the wrong way forward? Is that bullying? Is that cruel? Or is that just kind of all in good fun? It's a prank, and it's like what we do to kind of, just like we induct people into a fraternity or sorority, there's certain rites of initiation. Is this just a normal rite of initiation over the holidays?
Well, like I said, going to the break, I could totally see your family doing something like this. Now, would they have let me go out, and if you and I were getting married, and I was out training, would they have just let that happen? No. I mean,
but
it would have
Justin,
been
my
something
family's funny.
I know, but like a week before, they would have said, hey, we're going to do the turkey trot Saturday, bring your... It's like, well, now this says everything. It's like Mean Girls when they invited her to the party and she showed up and she was dressed as a fucking ogre and everybody else had their slutty Halloween costumes on. And she walks in and felt totally out of place.
Yeah.
So is it like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty mean. And I think kind of my takeaway is like, we're in this giving season where we're supposed to be grateful and thankful. And it's like, why are we coming at it with this kind of mean streak, this bullying, this pranking, And it's like, I think about myself, like, energy and resources are slim. I would be really ticked off if I spent all that time and energy.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that went too far.
Are you typing?
Well, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get this dumb phrase that comes to mind. Have you ever heard that phrase? It's if they ignore you, they don't love you, or better to be paid attention to. And there's a phrase, and I asked ChatGPT what it is.
Well, find it, because that sounds like the wrong way forward. That sounds like the dumbest advice ever.
It's not coming to mind, and it must not be great because ChatGPT's not coming up with it either. But it was like, attention's a form of love. I mean, they're giving this girl attention. They are welcoming her into the family by making her feel part of the joke. If it were me and it was that, I'd be like, great. Well, you fat people have a nice morning. I'm going to do the turkey trot, and I'd come back feeling, endorphined and all that.
Yeah, but Justin, you're like 51, heading towards 52. Like, this is different when you're younger. You're going into a family. You want to impress. These are the people you're going to spend the rest of your time with. In-laws, I mean, how many movies have there been made about in-laws? I mean, Meet the Fockers. I mean, it's a famous trope. And so I can understand her wanting to kind of impress and fit in. And what they did was they manipulated that. They took advantage of her sweetness, is what I think. And I think...
Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead. I want to hear.
I was saying, this is what we got to hear from the viewers. Text us your thoughts on this, 720-251-4450, because I see your point. I also think we're taking this way too seriously. I bet this is a really fun family, and I'd love to spend time with them. Would you?
No, I told you they're not funny, and they die laughing when they reveal the prank, and it just falls flat. And I have to tell you, most of the internet also thinks they're pretty boring. So I want you to check it out.
Of course, I'm on
Justin.
the wrong side of this one once again.
Please
save your viewer emails for Katy Montgomery. That's Katy Montgomery. No, I'm just kidding. So, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Again, I don't like the fact that they let her train for it. That to me is not okay. I would have done this a week before and said, hey, we're doing the turkey trot. Wear your best turkey outfit. And then let her walk in, for an initiation. I think that could have been cute. And then they all laugh and say, we don't actually do this or whatever. There were better ways to do it probably, but I think it shows love.
Well, and I disagree, but I do think the thing that we do have in common is that whether you are loving yourself, loving others, or just generally showing love, this is the season to do so.
Tis the season.
Tis the season, and we have absolutely, again, we are so grateful, and we have loved being able to get to know the viewers, to spend time with y'all, and it's been a great, great pleasure. Justin and I are going to take a break, so we won't have a new episode on Christmas or New Year's, but we will be back on January the 8th with a recap of 2025, and then we will begin with new content for 2026 starting in mid-January.
Yeah,
I know,
season 2.
It's time flies when you're having fun. And so with that, we want to say thank you. We are so grateful, and we'd love to continue to hear from you either by text, email, or on our social media platforms.
Happy holidays, everybody.
All right, that's a wrap on this week's episode of Wrong Way Forward. Remember, the only thing worse than taking bad advice is giving it.
If you've liked what you've heard, like, subscribe, or follow us wherever you stream podcasts. And if you've got a topic or need some advice we'll probably regret giving, email us at wrongwayforwardpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Wrong Way Forward.